Report shows a positive outlook on the economy, but analysts are cautious. Welcome to the news at noon. I'm Alex Livingston. The report shows U.S. employers added 4.8 million jobs in June. Now, this brings the U.S. unemployment rate down to 11.1%. The nation has now recovered roughly 1/3 of the 22 million jobs it lost to the pandemic recession. Some analysts caution against too much optimism. They say that the numbers have come slightly before the nation started seeing coronavirus spiking in many areas of the country. President Trump spoke on the recent numbers this morning.
Today's announcement proves that our economy is roaring back. It's coming back extremely strong. We have some areas where we're putting out the flames or the fires, and that's working out well. We're working very closely with governors, and I think it's working out very well. I think you'll see that shortly.
The news comes as unemployment lines across the country are growing as people who have applied for unemployment still haven't heard back from unemployment services. Meanwhile, the U.S. trade deficit rose for the third straight month in May. Both exports and imports fell as the coronavirus outbreak continued to take a toll on world commerce. The Commerce Department said Thursday that the gap between the United States, what it buys and what it sells abroad, rose 9.7% in May to $54.6 billion. Now, that's the highest since December of 2018. U.S. exports fell 4.4% in May to over $144 billion, and that's the lowest since November 2009.